Well, hello there. Haven't seen you guys in a while. It's Beanie, and today I'm going to be talking about Stickler. So you guys are wondering, you've done this video before. Why are you doing it again? Well, I deleted that video and no one has to know I've done it before. First off, I like to use this analogy. Head, shoulders, knees, toes. That's the areas that Stickler affects. Now, you may be wondering, it affects only your head, your shoulders, your knees, and your toes. No! It affects those areas. So, my head, my nose, my ears, my mouth, my eyes. Haha. My shoulders, my spine, my knees, you know, all the joints. The ones that do this. The joint. It's really fun. It's amazing. First off is the head. I have eyes. We all have eyes. You know, kind of the standard human attachment. But my eyes are kind of weird because they're Stickler eyes. So I have extremely thick prescriptions, big eyes, because that's one of the features of Stickler syndrome. Hi. And nearsightedness. I can see you guys clearly now. But they also have a few other things that are kind of icky. One, retinal detachment. Because since this is a connective tissue disorder, you know, the stuff that keeps you together, it's pretty flimsy in my body, in Stickler bodies, it's pretty flimsy. So if I got hit with the ball, like when I was, say, 4, I would be blind. I know what you're thinking. No, I am not being overdramatic. It's called retinal detachment. Retinal detachment is bad, okay? Bad. I was taught from a very small bean age to look out for these symptoms. Flashing lights, curtain, and floaters. Yeah, floaters look like little gnats flying around in your vision. It's annoying, because you can't kill those. But I've lived with it. It's been fine. Just a few of the occasional squeals when I see a ball hurling towards my head. But it's pretty okay. I just have to make sure I stay away from flying objects, and I watch for those symptoms, and I should be fine. A few years ago, now this is on the topic of surgeries, oh boy have I had a lot of those. A few years ago, 2016, 2015 really, I found out that I had I forgot what they called it. I had like a slight little tear thingy happening by my retina. That is that is a very, very bad. So we had a surgery done. I've had 2 of these kind of surgeries, called a laser eye surgery. So they basically run a laser around my retina, kind of like gluing it together, keeping it in place, and to prevent those. The first one I had was when I was around 6, and we just did that because I was at a higher risk for retinal detachment than I am now. So I basically got put to sleep. They lasered my eyes, woke up, they were bloodshot. I was kind of a little bit scared. And they basically just kind of Gorilla Glued my eye. Not really, they didn't put Gorilla Glue in my eye, but they lasered it together so it wouldn't fall apart, basically. So that is just one of the many things that I deal with. Frequent surgeries. For the past about 3 years, I have had at least 1 surgery within the same month period too, March or February. That's just kind of the standard. My hair's a mess. Anyway, I digress. Surgeries are just kind of a fact of life when you have Stickler syndrome. Most of mine happened when I was in early childhood, so baby to like 7 years old. But recently they've kind of picked up their speed a little bit. They've made a bit of a comeback. So one of the first surgeries that I had when I was a baby was my cleft palate repair surgery. Now you're wondering, what's a cleft palate? What is that? I've probably heard of cleft lips, and I don't know what a cleft palate is. Basically, touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth. I didn't have that. They had to remove part of my cheek. I think that was my cheek. I have no idea. And they stuck it up the roof of my mouth. And that's how I got a roof of my mouth. A fun fact, I don't have a uvula, the weird dangly thing. I don't have one of those. So they just put that at the roof of my mouth. And during that time, I had no nose on, which was basically a cast for babies. So then, you know, they didn't like touch their mouths, basically, like suck their thumb, any of that, because that could be bad quickly. And I had to have a feeding tube because I couldn't eat because I had surgical whatever, and It was a whole thing. I had one of those till I was like 4. So that's 2 surgeries. My next surgery, which was, I think may have been the first surgery, was my tracheostomy. I came out and I turned blue because I couldn't breathe because cleft palate. There's nothing holding my tongue in place, so my tongue flipped back and decided to say hi to my airway. And they had to stick a tube in my throat, in my trachea. I had that until I was 6. And they took it out like 6 times too, like several times. They're like, hey, she might not have to use this anymore. Just takes it out. Oh wait, she still needs it. It happened several times throughout my childhood. Some of the doctors were idiots. You go through a lot of those when you have this condition, idiot doctors. It's common practice. Okay, we're already done with head. Wait, no we're not. Dang it! Okay, we still have my ears to go. Now, with stickler, there's a chance for hearing loss. That's a fun side effect. You're in some room and you just hear someone calling for you. What? What? I can't hear you! That's basically the gist of what goes on in my house. There's just a lot of whats and aveas and whats and aveas. Hearing loss. Okay, that's it for the head. Now we're going on to shoulders. Shoulders is kind of I just wanted to put the analogy in, but it's really just my spine, because stickler can come along with spinal and hip issues. Fun times! Oh, spine. A lot of people with stickler have a thing called scoliosis. It's basically where your spine decides to turn into an S, and not very fun. I have slight scoliosis, which basically means my spine just kind of decided to bend a little bit. So this is my spine, and it just kind of went like this. Nothing too serious. You can't really tell I have it. But a lot of people have severe scoliosis, which basically means their spine looks like this, and it's not fun at all. There's also a little thing called hip dysplasia that we can get too. We basically, from my experience, you could become a 65-year-old woman when you're 15. I have canes, okay? I'm gonna show you this. I have canes. I have canes. There's also a point where I had a herniated disc in my back and I needed one of these babies. Along with that kind of stuff, you get a bit of discomfort, you know. You would think scoliosis and hip dysplasia would be painful. They are. When I was little, I had a seat cushion when I was in school. Just basically had like a, you know how they have those fancy dining room chair tie-on seat cushions? I had one of those when I was still in school because those chairs are terrible. So, once we're going into that topic, we're going to go to knees, which is the entirety of my joints. I have a little thing called chronic pain. Yes, I know you're thinking, well, she's 15. How could she possibly have it? Like, isn't chronic pain for old people? No, it's not. I can assure you, it's not. I have lived with chronic pain since I was around 7 years old, which was basically when I started realizing, hey, your body hurts and you didn't fall down. So it started in my knees. It gets progressive. Stickler is a progressive condition. For those of you with stickler, you may or may not know this already. It started in my knees. It was a discomfort. My pain scale is kind of insane, so my ones are like stepping on Legos. It started out as a 1 where it was like, you know, accidentally biting your tongue. That's the least amount of pain I can imagine at this point, which is a bit sad, but I digress. That was how it was. And then it progressively got worse. When I was around 9, we discovered that I had these things called lesions in both my knees. Not at the same time, but we did our MRIs, and one of them had a lesion. I had to get it casted, and then the next year I had the same thing, and got the other one casted, and then they went away. But that was my main source of pain at the time. Now it is just my stickler. I get inflammation, which means swelling, and heat, and fatigue. Oh my gosh, the fatigue is terrible. Sometimes I get out of bed looking like something out of The Walking Dead. Hair all disheveled, like, please, 5 more minutes. I get stiff which basically means I turn into an articulated Barbie for about 5 minutes in the morning. I basically, turn into a 75-year-old, which is kind of ironic since my 75-year-old grandmother moves faster than me some days. But that's enough of the bad stuff, okay? Let's talk about the cool stuff about having Stickler. It's cool. I'm double jointed. I can do weird stuff like that. I also learned how to get really fast on crutches. Like, I can run on crutches without actually running, and I can go sideways and backwards. It's a feat. And another cool thing is, what I've noticed at least, you go to a certain age, like 4, you find a picture of yourself, find a picture of a few more people of your same gender with Stickler, and you look almost exactly the same. It's crazy, okay? My hair has progressively gotten, more light sockety. But that's a video for another day. Now we're going to talk about life with Stickler, how it is in general. I used to go to public school. I am in fact homeschooled now because Stickler is terrible when you're in public school, at least in my experience. I had this little doodad called a 504 plan, which basically means this is how you have to treat me because I'm hurting and I need help. Special help. As I said earlier, I can't go out for recess because if I got hit in the face with a ball, my sight would yeet. So I had to stay inside with a buddy, and play some board games and play with some Play-Doh, and it was fun. I went to school till I was like in 4th grade, and then I got pulled out at 5th grade. I'm in 9th grade now. Hello! And I am doing much better in the way of that because I don't have to worry about changing for like periods during school or extracurricular activities or sports. I hate sports and gym class with every fiber of my being. Now, another thing that can happen with Stickler is your teeth. I just recently had some stuff go down with my teeth that is not so savory. I had my 12-year molars growing in this way. So they're supposed to be growing up this way. They're growing this way, so they had to take those suckers out. Now my wisdom teeth are supposed to be going where those are. But I recently had a lovely infection in the spot where my molars used to be, like 2 days ago, and it's a fun time. It really is. But I get through it and I power through, and it's awesome. It's great. As I mentioned earlier, I have had a lot of surgery. I've had 20 plus surgeries. I'm only 15. That's at least a surgery or 2 a year for my lifetime. The only thing I liked about having surgeries was the gift shop. Now, after I'm done rambling, that's my explanation of Stickler syndrome for all you lovely people out there. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit a like down below and maybe subscribe. I have a lot more fun content coming on since I have a webcam now, and I can do art videos because I love art. So, beanie out, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be posted next week, because I don't want to do the monthly gaps anymore. Okay, enough rambling. Adios!